Accent Decor showroom at the Atlanta Market Center. I'm with Paloma Contreras of La Dolce Vita blog, a blog you really should consider following. It's fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about trends first of all, and a little bit about your design aesthetic, and then we'll talk about how you got into design.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I think what's happening now in design is really interesting. There's sort of this resurgence of very traditional design and design elements. There's a whole movement called grandmillennial, where very young design enthusiasts and designers are really embracing what was once considered grandma style. So things like bullion fringe and ruffles and wallpaper and dog portraits. Think Mario Buata in the 80s, and that's having a really huge resurgence sort of in the cultural zeitgeist, if you will. So it's interesting to see things shift in that direction after skewing so modern and so neutral for so long.
What is your personal design aesthetic, and also how did you get into design?
Oh, sure. So I was actually a high school Spanish teacher for a few years, and during that time I started my blog, La Dolce Vita, and eventually landed where I am now. I opened my design firm, Paloma Contreras Design, back in 2013. It all happened very organically, but I would say that my style is a take on modern and traditional. I always say modern meets traditional is sort of my ethos. I love to mix things and different elements from different periods and different styles to create something that feels really layered and personal.
Talk with me about color and how important that is to you and the designs that you do with your clients.
Absolutely. It really is specific to the client. I love color, but I also love spaces that are really neutral and have a lot of contrast. So it really depends on the mood that the client wants to evoke, the way that they want their home to feel. And we might use it as more of an accent, or it may really take center stage, if you will, and be sort of the hero element in the room. But I love color. I love to live with color, and I don't know that a completely neutral environment is one that I want to live in.
So for those who love design, not thrilled with their life right now, you went from Spanish teacher to designer. You have now been listed as an A-list designer by Elle Decor, Forbes Top Influencer, but you're also the author of a book. Talk with us about your book.
I am. So I wrote my book, Dream Design Live, which was published by Abrams, as sort of a culmination of a lot of the things that I've learned as a working designer, and as a way to share my thoughts and tips and ideas with my followers and readers and all of that, because I know that not everyone has access to working with a designer, but maybe wants to work on their own home or is enthusiastic about design. So it's something that I was very cognizant of. I wanted to create a book that was not only beautiful and inspiring, but that was actually a really useful tool. So it's broken into 3 chapters. Dream is all about inspiration, finding it, how to cull through that if you're inspired by 50 different styles and picking a lane. The design section is obviously your real, like, meat and potatoes design takeaways. And then the live section is all about sharing your home once you've designed it with the people that you love. So there's a little bit about entertaining and really just achieving the lifestyle that you want through your home.
I've often wondered if we had as many choices in our cars, if we would be able to turn our cars as often as we do, but we don't do that with our home. What do you think about choices, and are there too many choices?
There are a lot of choices, and I think consumers, clients, the general public have access now to more than they ever have before. And so it's a tricky situation as a working designer where the business of design is a little bit demystified and clients have more access. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's great for someone who's passionate about design and wants to work with a designer to come to the table and say, I've done my research, I know that I like this type of fabric or this style or whatever it may be. It becomes tricky when it interrupts the design process and perhaps clients are shopping on their own or sort of sidestepping the process that's in place, but it can be overwhelming. So I do talk about that a lot in that first section of my book, because I personally feel the same way as a professional designer even. I'm attracted to so many different styles, but editing that down and figuring out which direction to go in, it can be tricky for people, but it's possible.
What do you think is the biggest trend coming out as you are designing master baths?
Master baths. I think smart technology. It seems like the technology that we've been used to seeing in the kitchen for a while is now making its way into other parts of the home. There are really incredible automated shower systems nowadays where you can program a setting on your phone through an app to turn your shower on, 5 minutes after you've gotten out of bed, and get it to a certain temperature, and specific mood lighting and all kinds of things. So I think technology is really going to start to show up in bathrooms more than we've ever seen before.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Ellen.
So this was Paloma Contreras with La Dolce Vita blog. She's from Houston, Texas. You should follow it. It's fabulous.